whilst we wait.
We are on. We are live.
Okay.
We need to start putting music in the background.
But we can keep chatting a little bit. How's the weather there, Sanjeev?
Yeah, the weather is at its coldest. We are experiencing -3, like feeling like -3, but actual 3 degrees and so wet. Is it as it's worse? I would say.
I don't envy you guys.
No, no.
We are in a nice summer mood here. It's bright sunshine, if you can see.
How much degrees?
I think it's about 25 or something like that, 25 to 30, somewhere around that range.
That's perfect weather. That's perfect weather. I won't mind being in lockdown there.
So I was in a rainforest last week, over the Christmas and weekend, right in the middle of a rainforest. So that was very interesting. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, never been to a rainforest actually in my entire life.
Yeah, in Malaysia they have these rainforests, and they have some small resorts or towns inside where you can actually go and take jungle treks and stuff like that. You stay there, and very nice areas.
Do they have like a lot of dangerous animals in the rainforest then, like snakes and
But they have usually they have some tigers or not really so much, but and the elephants, and of course a lot of crocodiles and alligators. But
wild
they do
animals?
have flash floods. The problem is flash floods. If it rains, you
Mm-hmm.
suddenly have the rivers overflowing, and then your resort can be very easily be submerged.
Wow. No,
Then
I've
they have
never.
then they
Yeah.
have these walks all over the top of the trees. Canopy walk, what they call. Tall trees, and then they have put those um, walkways, so you can just walk around there. But it's interesting, different.
Definitely different than Europe because here we don't have so much flash floods and well, we don't have flash floods at all or elephants or rainforest. It's just dry, really dry, and always well dry in the sense of like no flash floods and stuff, but it's always raining and cold and gray.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
okay.
it's a different place, different locations. You have some different things. At
Did you
least you have
guys,
seasons. We don't have seasons.
no, oh, that's true. Did you guys see what's happening in America right now?
Oh, that's
No,
crazy.
I saw the news, but I didn't see it.
No, it's there was a very bad protest at the Capitol Hill there. That was protester
Yeah,
walked into the legislature. It was very bad. People were injured. Even I think some people died in the
a lady got
Hmm.
shot.
yeah, yeah, very bad.
Really bad. Shouldn't be going down like this.
Mhm. Anyway, they'll find their way.
They will find their way. Everywhere is just going through a hard time right now. Mm.
Are you all still moving around in your place?
We are still in lockdown, but
Hmm.
essential services are open, and you can still go to your office. Um, I mean, luxury shops are closed. Only essential shops are open. We are still
Hmm.
locked down. Schools are closed till I think 15th or 16th of January. We keep it like this, and then they
Hmm.
will reevaluate.
Hmm. It's likewise, I think, all over. Similar situation.
Do we have people joining in this morning already?
Yes, we have 11 attendees.
Oh, that is perfect. Good morning, everyone. Okay, it is 10 a.m. sharp. Welcome everyone and a happy new year. Welcome to our fully managed IHM maintenance webinar where innovation meets experience. Today is the 7th of January, 2021. And today we will be hosting none other than the fully managed IHM maintenance webinar. If you joined our past webinar, you know what this is all about. But if you're here for much more information, stay tuned. We are your hosts, Varuna Sentinels. You will be able to find us on social media and in the news and future events. We have a webinar coming up at the end of this month again. So stay tuned after this webinar. You can purchase your tickets because we'll be hosting another one on the 28th of January. You'll find us active in the maritime industry and all over. If you want to know more about what we do, go to www.varuna-sentinels.com. But definitely stay tuned because in this webinar, we will tell you all about how we go about in the maritime industries. I am your host, your moderator, Whitney Mondewees. Happy to see you guys joining us again. Okay, today on the agenda, we'll have presentations from our hosts, from our panelists. We'll do Q&A at the end of the webinar, but also a few questions throughout the webinar if they're directed. Please submit your questions in the Q&A box. We'll do key takeaways and conclusions, and we will talk about what's next for Varuna Sentinels. Just pausing one moment to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Oops, I see there's a little problem with the bio from Rakesh. I don't know why it's not turning up. But that's not a problem because Rakesh Varga was formerly with Wilhelmsen Ship Management, where he headed, initiated, and operationalized the IHM green recycling and layup services, having spent over 30 years with the company. He heads his own startup, Sea Sentinels, which offers similar services apart from offering smart onboard solutions. He is also the co-founder of Varuna Sentinels BV, a specialist in traditional end-to-end management of ships, a leading authority on the inventorying of hazardous materials, an expert on safe, innovative, and environmentally correct recycling of ships. Rakesh was also a pioneer in the conceptualization and implementation of both hot and cold layup of ships in safe and secure places. Rakesh has a proven understanding of shipping, having served his stint at sea as chief engineer prior stepping ashore. He holds a graduate degree in engineering apart from other qualifications. Wow. Welcome, Rakesh. Then we have Mr. Sanjeev Singh. Sanjeev is the general manager of Varuna Marine Services based at The Hague in the Netherlands. He is the co-founder of Varuna Sentinels BP. He is a qualified marine engineer and a hazmat expert. He also holds an MBA in maritime administration from the University of Greenwich, London, United Kingdom. After spending his early career out at sea as a ship's engineer, Sanjeev held various shore-based positions in technical and commercial shipping. Welcome to you both. I forgot. Again, please submit your questions via the webinar's Q&A. It's really important. And during the webinar, we'll be having some active polls, so make sure and vote. We want to hear your voice today. With no further ado, I just want to thank everyone for joining, for registering, and I hope you guys have a great time at this webinar. I'm handing over the floor to Rakesh. Rakesh, the webinar is all yours.
Thank you, Whitney, for the very gracious introduction, and I'm sure I'll try and live up to it. But good morning, everyone. And I'm based here in Kuala Lumpur, nice sunny place here, and I'm sure I don't envy you all who all are sitting in Europe. But I hope you can see my screen, Sanjeev.
Not yet. Yes.
Just saying hello to Gizem. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gianluca. Good morning, Ranjan. Good day.
Yes, we see it, Rakesh.
Okay, great. Um, Good morning again, everyone. And here we are. So we don't have so much time. So we are just going to run through I'll give you a small presentation about the Varuna Sentinels company as such and what we do, a very brief introduction. And then I'll switch over to the regulatory part a little bit, which most of all you already know. But I'll just give a brief background about this. And subsequently, of course, Sanjeev will take over and show you exactly how and what we are doing and what we have innovated and produced for the IHM maintenance software. So here we go. This is here we are, Varuna Sentinels, where innovation meets experience. All of our employees here, all of our colleagues here, firmly believe in this, and we try and do our best and try and meet this experience with innovation at every point where we discuss and talk. Here it is, and just to be in line with that, and that is what we did actually. When myself and Sanjeev met together, we thought we actually visualized there was a gap between IHM maintenance and what people are doing right now, and what is being offered in the market, and what is actually required by the regulators. So we got together, we got our heads together with a couple of people, with some software guys. We got down and we made this software which is known as IHM maintenance software for Varuna Sentinels. It is a cloud. That's a core supply. That's a core uh, supply. What the core business that we actually offer to our clients. It is a cloud-based software, and it offers complete IHM maintenance package for all the managers, the ship owners, and any stakeholders that may need to be there. Sanjeev will take you over through the software as we go along, but I will just give you a brief outlook on this. Here we have the Varuna Sentinels hazmat expert sitting in the middle, and with the software as you can see on the cloud. So where we have designated persons, we have persons from the company which is on the shore, as well as on board, which is the hazmat expert ashore, and the company designated person on board. So here we meet all of them meet together here on the cloud, and support the IHM maintenance server, wherein all of them get together and populate this. This IHM maintenance server can also be accessed by the various stakeholders, classification societies, the ship owners, the vessels, if they have access to the cloud. So it is a very ongoing and dynamic software which is accessible at any point of time at any place. The process is this is how it goes. There is a designated person, there is a competent person on board, designated person on shore, and the process is collecting the MDs and SDOCs from various suppliers who have supplied to the vessel. Our hazmat experts, together with the server, our intelligent server, will go through the purchase orders and the RFQs, the quotations, and then they will come out with the designated list of requirements, and then we go to the MDs and SDOCs. And the MDs and SDOCs are brought into the server. They will check for the threshold values, and thereafter it is uploaded to the server. And these are all at all times accessible by various stakeholders. So you have a ready-made IHM maintenance completely with maintenance at all times at your hand. Now, one thing to say is that our server is here. It is lying in the center of as a core of our business, and this is and we realized that there was a huge resource crunch for carrying out IHM maintenance. That means there was a lot of resources required. So the software actually is based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it learns by itself, and very soon it will be automated as it learns by itself. It has already reached the threshold value, but we at all times we have the hazmat expert sitting by its side, so there can be no errors there. This is what it looks like, the software, where we have the owner's dashboard, wherein all the 15 elements are tracked within. Also, you can see the details of the purchase orders below. Then you have a slider on top, which just gives you a time function as to what happened when. Then on the side on the right, you have various markers and various trackers for various purchase orders, open purchase orders, open MDs, SDOCs. So everything is here. What in one position, you have everything what is required by the regulators and the stakeholders. As you go internally, you'll find more details. You can dig down deeper and deeper into the actual vessel as to where all the hazardous materials are placed. This is what the architecture looks like. It is GDPR compliant, which is a requirement especially for the European clients, and not only that it is a requirement for various security regulations is connected to shipping. So that's it for the quick brief about our software, and I will just jump over to our main presentation, which will also be a part of which will run through the regulations, and then I will hand over to Sanjeev. Yeah. Okay, here we kick off this presentation, and here we are an expert company which also provides IHM. We are very much experienced in providing IHM, the initial IHM, as well as the follow-up of IHM maintenance. Our delivery is very, very flexible. The reason being the software is owned by the company, and it is very easy to be flexible and change and tweak to the owner's requirements or to the stakeholders' requirements. So quickly, what is IHM? It is a pictorial view of the vessel wherein we can quantify and say exactly where all the hazardous materials are placed on a vessel. Now, hazardous materials is not just a simple word. It's defined very clearly by the IMO, and the guidelines. The reference guideline is MEPC 269/68, also otherwise known as the Hong Kong Convention of 2009. This convention is not ratified yet, but it's close to that, and we hope that it's ratified very soon. It has various parts: Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, wherein Part 1 is important for the one which is the ships, which are the existing ships which are running, and our maintenance also focuses on Part 1, which is of structures and equipment. Part 2 and Part 3 will come into force when the ships go for recycling. So there are various categories there, which is operative. Part 2 and Part 3 focuses on operative wastes and stores, while Part 1 is more on structure and equipment. Table A it's in various tables, where A is mandatory for all ships, while table B is for new buildings also. Well, C and D, as you see, are for when the ships are going for recycling. So there are two, as I mentioned about the Hong Kong Convention. The Hong Kong Convention has not been ratified. However, the European Union Ship Recycling Regulation is in force from 1st of January 2021, which requires that every vessel coming to the European ports or the anchorage must have an initial IHM, which has a statement of class certificate or a flag state certificate stating that the IHM is valid and certified. So this is a mandatory requirement. Recently, they have given a 6-month conditional extension, but then the ownership owners must prove that they have taken all possibilities to try and do the IHM before they come into European ports. So this is a very conditional acceptance for requirements. And anyway, whatever is said and done, once you go to the European European ports without an IHM, you will still get a negative point towards port state control. And in the same EU-SRR, it is a requirement for having IHM which is maintained. IHM is not static. Once the IHM is done, it has to be maintained, which is again a requirement. So I'll quickly go on to the regulation part. This is the regulations which govern the lifetime quality management and the procedures for maintenance, wherein the ship owner has to have is responsible for the maintenance of part 1 of the IHM during the lifetime of the ship. He has to designate a person responsible for maintaining and updating the inventory, and this is a crucial responsibility. Now, this is covered by both the MEPC, which is IMO Hong Kong Convention, as well as the EU-SRR, and this is defined very clearly by the ship recycling regulation, which is in force now. So, of course, the maintenance of the IHM can be carried out by the ship owner himself, or can be outsourced. But it's a big volume job, so the ship owner has to have some very specialized certain procedures to carry this out. Of course, it very clearly specifies that a software tool can be used to support the IHM development and maintenance processes. So quickly, this is how the process is. I have already gone through it in my initial brief peek of our software. It's something similar, and there'll be enforcements. There will be various port state regulations coming in to carry out this inspections of the IHM, wherein the IHM will be inspected, and of course, subsequently its maintenance. That means the ship owner has to have their SMS systems updated, to comply, to be able to cater to IHM maintenance, and therein the audits have to be compliant to their SMS systems. That means the owners are free to make their own SMS systems, but generally in compliance to the EU-SRR, and they have to follow those systems. So it's a very flexible system, but finally the crucial point is that the IHM has to be maintained. That is the key. So these are the various regulations, legislations where they have defined some fines, etc., for non-compliance. This is the same process which I have already mentioned before. And how it works is, again, as I said before, we will have access to the ship owner or the manager's the PO data only for unpriced PO data, which we will use, which our system will actually use to flash out emails or within the software itself to get the MDs and SDOCs, which will be populated in the system. Of course, it will be scanned by the various hazmat experts for being above threshold or below threshold values. The hazmat expert sits in the middle and it controls the whole process, together with as you can see, together with the software, together with the software and the cloud. So there are various tasks and responsibilities for all the stakeholders. For example, this is for the competent person, this is for the designated person ashore, competent person is on board, and there are various work processes involved. Now, again, as I said, this is the VSIMS, which is the Varuna Sentinels IHM maintenance server. Of course, it's individually fleet-based. It can drill down to full overview, to fleet overview, to individual superintendent overview. Here is what it looks like. I've already shown this before, and I'll run to, you can actually at one click, you can get your MDs and SDOCs from the, for that particular ship. You can segregate your, you can actually look for, filter your data by various, by hazardous materials, individual hazardous materials, individual ships, individual class, individual fleet, or individual superintendent, individual. So it has all filters built in here, and at one click you can get all your data here. Of course, the maintenance package consists of the software. Then you have a detailed manual, which I showed part of it earlier, which gives the roles and processes for everyone. Then you have personalized training, and then of course we can communicate this. The main communication party is the competent person on board and the designated person ashore, and then they exchange data input. This is how it looks like, the training pack, which consists of the manual, the IHM records, the book, plus the annexes. This is what the MD's SDOC looks like. And of course, what makes us different is we are a very professional and experienced IHM team, which has a lot of experience behind them for actually carrying out IHMs. We are flexible. We are very flexible because we own the software. And of course, we provide all training, individualized training for this. That's it from me. I hope I have made it in time, Whitney. So I'll knock off. So please, you can take care.
Yes, Rakesh, you did make it in time, indeed. Indeed, you did. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming in. Happy New Year's to those that joined in a little bit later. Welcome to our third or fourth, I think, our third webinar already. Please, guys, submit your questions in the Q&A field. We're really looking forward to hearing from you guys today. I see that everyone is very active on the polls. Question right now is, have you completed your IHM part 1? Have you? Yes, no, in progress, or partly done? So please let us know. Guys, our motto is, our mission, our statement is where innovation meets experience. So I am happy to introduce Mr. Sanjeev to share his knowledge with us. So Sanjeev, the platform is all yours today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Whitney.
Rakesh, you're still sharing your screen, by the way.
I think you can see
Sanjeev,
my
you
screen
have taken
now.
over?
Yes, Sanjeev has taken over indeed.
Okay.
Thank you, Whitney, and thank you, Rakesh, for thank you, Whitney, for the introduction, and Rakesh for the detailed regulatory background of what IHM maintenance entails and what are the possibilities. And welcome everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I see a lot of people joining in from all across the globe. So what I'll be talking today is basically what we have done in Varuna Sentinels, and display the software that we have created. But the core is, of course, the Hazmat expert, the team that we have behind the software. So I think we complement each other in the sense that the software is definitely very cutting edge, and no software is as good as the people who have made it and the knowledge that has been put behind it. So I think both has to go hand in hand, and that is where we think we stand very strongly in the market, because we have built ourselves on the base of IHM, have been developing almost around 1,000 ships. IHMs we have done. We have dealt with almost every classification society. So on that knowledge, we have built this software, which I want to display today. So what you see on the screen right now is our homepage. So it really gives you an overview of who are the stakeholders. And today I'll be displaying you the owner's dashboard, because I realized that most of the people attending are ship owners. So I would only be displaying the owner's dashboard. But if you happen to be a class, let's say, or if you happen to be a shipyard, or if you happen to be a supplier and you want individualized this, let's say, demonstration of the dashboard that we have individualized for you, you could very well contact us and we can display you that dashboard. So And before I jump on to the owner's dashboard, I also want to quickly say what we have done on the circular maritime economy is that uh, we have further enlarged the concept of what is going to happen in the maintenance process, because it is going to bring in more transparency in the industry. Obviously, every time there is a new change, I think the shipping industry reacts to it and stands, rises to the challenge. And this is the time when we are now finally suppliers will have to declare what it contains. Anything that you are supplying to the ship, may it be in the maintenance process, may it be in the normal running processes, now supplier has to declare it. And that is the key. We think that it will the transparency. It is just the beginning of transparency to, and it will go further way beyond just declaring what is in a supply, but also how you recycle your ships, who where it is being recycled, how the downstream management of waste happens. So we have taken that endeavor to take it way and beyond, building upon, of course, the ship owner and the supplier base. But we will be talking, we are already have started talking with shipyards, we have started talking with manufacturers, ship recycling yard, banks who finance these endeavors, insurers, of course, agents plays a key role, port state control, flag administration, classification societies, NGOs plays a very key role, regulatory bodies, waste reception facilities, because these are the guys who would be actually receiving those waste. So if they can come and authenticate that yes, waste was received, and obviously can prove that they are qualified and authenticated to deal with such a waste. And certified hazmat companies like us, again, we fall in this category, and there are many others. I see Wouter is here as well, so he so we have some colleagues from the industry as well. So these companies are doing a lot of IHM, and obviously everybody is keeping their cards close to their chest. And the idea of circular maritime economy is really that we start to open up, really try to say that yes, we did the work and we are proud of what we did, and we stand by the quality. I doubt how many people can actually do that in the industry, but we are very proud of what we have done. We have followed the MEPC, what is there in USRR, and we can stand behind any reporting that we have done, any IHM report that we have done, and that is why we support this transparency initiative that we have taken, that everybody can authenticate their work, and basically making the industry little bit better than it was. So this is obviously this webinar is more focused on the IHM maintenance. So I'll without further ado, I'll just jump on to the owner's dashboard and what we have done. So this is the dashboard what we have created for IHM maintenance. Few very quick remarks on the dashboard before I go into the details of the various things that we see here on the dashboard. It's a browser-based dashboard, so you do not need to install any plugins or any sort of installation on your side. So if you are worried about, let's say, issues as to whether your server needs to be installed or anything external API needs to be installed, you can just log in with your username and password, and in some cases, two-step authentication processes that for good security, let's say. Um, it can be accessed wherever on any device, on the vessels, on your offices, so it is, as I said, it is a browser-based software, so you can access it from anywhere. For owners dashboard specifically, you do not need to do anything. Obviously, this all data is done by our team from the back end. You only can view it. You can see what is happening on your vessels, on your fleet, what is the status of your IHM. You can download your updated IHM report on demand. So whenever you need an IHM report, you can be able to download it from here. But the software itself is very light, and it runs on any browser, on any system. Uh, we are in terms of the tech stack, we have integrated machine learning, artificial intelligence, and blockchain based authentication systems. So we have tried to really assemble a state of art software which could learn by itself, and while we are also feeding our own technical knowledge into the system through keywords, through logics that we have devised based upon our own experience. The software is also GDPR compliant. So our servers are based in Europe. So that is a very big question. that where do you keep the data and what do you do with the data. So basically, for people who are concerned about data privacy, data issues, we can assure you that the servers are based in Europe, and we are fully GDPR compliant, which means that you own your own data. We do not take your data. So if, as long as you are with us, your data will be fully confidential. And if ever an client decides to stop their services for any reason, your data will be handed back to you and will be fully deleted from our software. And this trail of deletion is auditable. So it's not that it's only a written document, but you can any IT regulatory body can audit that whether this process is being followed or not. And this is a very crucial point because not many people actually substantiate this in practice as to whether the data is actually secure and can be deleted if somebody do not want to continue. So with that in mind, that I would like to go further into the dashboard itself. So what we see, this is the home page. So we like to call it where is the dashboard. When you log in, so if you, this is of course all dummy data, so don't we have tried to just take some data and fully mix it up so that you can have some look and feel of the platform, but nothing is divulged from any one of the, so it's all dummy data, and that has been populated in the software. Here what you see this is a very most important part is filtering. So basically filtering, any sort of filtering that you want to run, you will be running from here. So if you want to, let's say we want to run through a flag, you can run through a flag, or IHM status, for example. You only want to see asbestos, for example, so you have to remove everything. And the one thing you will notice that on the dashboard, the data keeps on changing as to what you do on the filter window. So right now, if I just select let's say asbestos containing chips, then your dashboard constantly filters up. So in one click, uh, you can see that, okay, everything else is gone. Now you are only focused on asbestos. And this, I think, is one of the biggest priority we had while we were designing the user interface, whereby we didn't want to create these bulky softwares where user has to go dig into multiple layers of windows and to find one information. So our philosophy and our approach was that within 1 or 2 clicks, you should be able to find what you are looking to find in the software. And especially for companies which has got bigger fleets and a lot of vessels, I think this will be the key to keep yourself abreast with the KPIs that you would like to see and how the maintenance process is running. So I'll come back to this filtering once again. So obviously you can see here if an active filter is activated, and you can just click clear all, and as soon as you clear everything, then it will go back to the default view of having selecting everything on your dashboard. Um, so what is the dashboard? What have you done? Before I can explain the ingredients of the dashboard, I would like to take you onto a ship label. So what is the ship label? Ship label is basically where all your ships, individual ships are put. So what we see here is like, again, some ships, what we do in the onboarding process. So, the maintenance starts with the onboarding process. The onboarding process is we request you certain data like your IHM part 1. So whoever has prepared your IHM part 1 across the world, doesn't matter. Give us the IHM part 1, give us the vessel specification and your GA and ER arrangement. So, so that is the starting point, what we ask owners to start onboarding your ships. And in the onboarding process, we will populate this data for you. And all your ships will be reflected in this form where all the decks will be visible. And then you have all the documents. So basically your documents are also populated as your POs are coming in, your MDs and SDOCs are coming in, your requisitions are coming in, and all your IHM part 1 is actually converted to a digital document. So basically what your IHM part 1 says, it is also in the system, but here you will see that this is a summary of your IHM part 1. So I1, I2, I3. So here you see that we have quantified that, and also all the evidence. So all the evidence before, so every line entry that we have, there is an evidence why it is there, what was the source, and sources can be IHM part 1 to begin with, and subsequently it will be your MDs and SDOCs that we have received from the supplier for red flag items, and it can also be um, uh, something you have landed, so it can be a landing note, or there has been a change within the vessel that can also be mapped within the system. So this is your summary here, and obviously your purchase order. This is the core, and this is where everything happens in a day-to-day, in a week-to-week, and month-to-month basis. Basically, all your suppliers basically will be giving you So what we had, the way we have designed is either we fetch your POs, and some owners have decided to give us RFQ instead of POs. So you have a choice to make whether you want to do the screening at the RFQ level or at the PO level, and we are comfortable with both. In terms of fetching the data, how do we get the data? Again, there is a big scale of how data can be fetched. One way to fetch data is, obviously some owners are still on Excel sheet and CSV files, which is fine. So you can send it to us on a monthly basis, your CSV file or Excel sheets, and we import the data into the system. And the other end of the scale is a digital integration, basically. So if you are with software like Spectex, Danos, SIPnet, IBM Maximo, you could Messpass and Bassnet, these kind of software. So we have already successfully integrated a digital layer with their software. So if you are already with one of these softwares or service supplier, all you need to do is to give an authentication or approval to them that, okay, Varuna Sentinels is allowed to fetch data for what we are buying and the supplier details from our system. And that data will automatically come in the system without any manual interface. Uh, so that is also, we can create an API link if you have a new software which I didn't mention. So let us know. We can very well. It takes us a couple of weeks to create any new integration because we have a functional API policy in place, which we invoke to link your individual software to the system. So as you can see, there is a varied amount of way you can share that data. Again, I want to reiterate what data means here is what you are buying, from whom you are buying, the contact detail of supplier. We don't need to see what prices you are paying. So again, in any digital interface that we create, we make sure that the prices are not shared, and only the content is shared about the line item details in terms of what is bought and the supplier contact details, so that we can reach out to the suppliers. So on this level, you have this is the most important level, let's say, on an ongoing basis, because you can imagine that there will be hundreds and thousands of items that you will be buying for a ship, and over a period of time it will quantify. And a lot of what we will do is, as soon as we receive a PO, all the system line items will be scanned and red flagged. So not everything that is on the PO will be hazardous. So this question comes time and again, that do you ask MDs and SDOCs for everything that we buy, or only certain things? So the answer is, our hazmat expert, together with the algorithm that we have developed, scan through your PO and highlight the red flag items. What do we mean by red flag items is, we suspect that they are hazardous, and that is why applying what MEPC says, that is by applying what USRR says, and that is the knowledge that we apply. And after that application and that filter, we come to a list of items that we think may be hazardous. Now, after that, our technical team using the software reaches out to the supplier and requests MDs and SDOCs, and that will be populated directly in your system. So it's all automated in the backend. So once, and let's say, if you click a tracked item list in this particular vessel, so you can see all means that everything that has come into into the PO scanning database. So all line items, including red flag, including non-red flag. So everything is here. So if you ever want to filter out and see, okay, how much of my POs have gone to BP, Marine Limited in this example, and you can also filter with vendor code, you can filter with supplier code. So we have tried to give you one short window of filtering through suppliers. So you can also see how the suppliers are functioning and performing. But at the same time, if you want to see how many of these items are tracked, so in this example, if I click on tracked item, then it gives me one window of supplies, and you can see that means that we had requested MDs and SDOCs. Tracked basically means that we suspected them to be hazardous, and then at that point we request MDs and SDOCs. If you drill further, you can click to see the document itself. So there was an MDs and SDOCs requested and received from the supplier. So we have given you this overview whereby you can very well easily filter it out. Why it is important? Because, and obviously, what we have done is to meet the regulatory requirements. So any auditor, may it be class, may it be flag, or anybody from port state control wants to check and audit you, this is what you would like to display, and in a way that it shows that there is an accountability, there is traceability, there is a way to monitor your SMS, clearly integrates this process in your maintenance plan, and you can be 100% sure that this is fully traceable. And that is what technology also lets you. So any changes that are done, it is all, this all digital audit trail can be audited by any auditing body in our own system. So even our hazmat experts, when we go in and make a change, that will be tracked and traced. So, and obviously at the end of it, you will get a report. So right now in this dummy vessel, we don't have a report, but I also want to show you a report. What is a report looks like? A report is basically every quarter. Well, we say every quarter, but you can get it on demand as well if you have an audit upcoming, or if you have a requirement earlier. The core of the report is basically what happens. So this is the core of the report what we have developed. So basically, what you see here is, in this example, you have part one I1 is 3, part 1 I2 is 10, part 1 I3 is 0, and part 2 and part 3 are 0 in this case. So basically, every quarter, so every 3 months, and number of POs received, number of MD and SDOC requested, number of MD received in this quarter. So we have tried to give you an overview what happened in this quarter, how many, was there any change. So every time if you move anything within the ship, so HM added in this quarter. So how hazardous material can be added is basically by buying things. So if you have bought a thing that actually had the MD and SDOCs proved that there were items above threshold, then here it will be one. And then relocated, what relocated means, let's say you had something in the store, and in that particular quarter your vessel did a maintenance and you had to use that. One example often we give is battery. So you had a new battery in your store, and you renewed it with in the navigational bridge. So now that is also an update, because the location of that particular item has changed, and maybe you have another item that was on the bridge and came back to the store for time being, or you have landed it. So there will always be some internal activity, and there will also be some external activity by buying or landing. So we have to what we have done is we map both internal movement and displacement of this hazardous item, as well as external addition and landing. So there can be plus in if you are buying, and there can be minus if you are actually landing certain things from your vessels. And the whole counter will be like this, that it gives you. So every quarter, if you look at this every quarter, then you can see what is happening. And obviously the report itself goes into more detail of the location, the pictures, and the supporting documents. Uh, and it is customizable. So whatever you want to capture from the system, we can customize that for you. So that is one example that I just wanted to show you. Now, going back to, I think I've covered everything here. Just one more thing on the ship deck. So on the ship deck, one more functionality you have is basically you can just click on any deck, let's say, and you will be able to see. Or on this deck, we don't have anything, but let's say on this here, you are able to see what is on this particular deck, and that is a very good example to show you as to how the systems are distributed across your deck. So GA deck, you have this and this. So that is how we have made it possible, and the visibility is there as to see which deck contains what. Now going back to the dashboard, we need to refresh. Filter. Hang on. Oh, I think my windows have frozen. Let me just sign in again. Yeah. So what you see on the dashboard now is, I was talking about how do you prove that an audit trail exists. So on the top, very top, we have a time bar. So what this time bar does is, if you start the maintenance window starts from the day SOC was issued. From there onwards, you go on, and the time keeps running. How do you go back in time? That was the biggest question that we tried to answer with this time bar. It's basically, you can drag this, if you drag this to the previous quarter, then the data that is there in the system automatically filters to that particular um, point of time. And I think that was one of the biggest thing that we did in our system. So like I went keep on going back, and now you see everything is 0. Basically that's when they started, and as you go forward, the data keeps on changing. So if any auditor asks you to say that, okay, what happened on this particular quarter, let's go back and see. So you don't need to really go through tons of paper. You don't need to really start drilling as to how do you go. Just drag the pointer and it will filter up and show you exactly what you wanted to see. And parallel to this, you can also run the filter from here. So if you had, let's say, if there is an audit going on one particular ship, then you can just go and bring that particular ship, filter that particular ship, I mean to say. And then the data itself. So in this case, this is the ship owner vessel. Let's say if I can just filter from here, ships. If I go to ships, if I clear everything and then I select just one ship, then you can see that you can also run it for one individual ship. So depending upon your use case and the scenarios that you are dealing with, you can run it for one individual ship, or you can run it for the whole fleet if you like. Um, Again, it is a summary of what we are doing. On the right hand side, you have PO tracked versus received. So we are trying to give you an idea of how much PO that you have sent us, and how much of it is being tracked from our end. uh, PO tracked versus received basically means that we are trying to give you an idea that how much PO you had sent and how much of it we are actually tracking. So not every PO that you send would have hazardous items in it, or not hazardous, but suspiciously hazardous item in it. So then you can see how many POs you issued in a quarter, in a year, or in a 6 monthly period. And then we, apart from that, we have brought the second line tells you the items tracked versus purchased, because the PO is very ambiguous, because there is no standard way to know how many items one PO can contain. It can contain one, it can contain 100. So then we have broken it down on the item level. The item level is where you can have a more overview that how many items you actually purchased, and how many of them were tracked. So tracked should already give you a good idea that what we have filtered out. So if you have, let's say, purchased 50,000 items in a 6 monthly period, and out of that, if we had, let's say, 200 items that we thought were suspiciously hazardous, that gives you an idea, because everybody is wondering as we enter this new regime, what will happen, how much of items, how much work it is, and how much of items will actually be tracked or suspiciously hazardous. And this is the counter that we will all look for. And these are the answers that we will all be looking for in coming weeks and months, as to what is the volume of the work that we have been talking about. So we have tried to give you that visibility from day one as to what is happening. So, and many owners have given us positive feedback on this visibility that we have provided. And then you have the, of course, MDs pending versus received, because everybody is asking us, how do you make sure that the MDs are received, and how do we know what is received and what is not received? So this counter will always be there for you, depending upon at what level you are. Right now we are on the vessel level, but this counter will always be there for you to know exactly what is happening on your fleet level, and so on and so forth. So this is again the same graphical representation of your MDG and SDOC status, received versus requested. And then here it is supplier. So this was one big question we had to answer, is how do you know what is happening with your supplier base? And obviously most of you would have a global supplier base as to how many I have responded, have not responded. So I think benchmarking supplier performance is a big thing, and which we can do through this monitoring. Um, so this is the core of the dashboard. On the bottom, again, we have, as I said earlier, that in 2 to 3 clicks, we have tried to provide you what you want to find information. So here again, you have the same data in a collated way. If you want to search by a PO number, item number, created date, MD, so you can run a filter here, supplier name even. So all the data is also on your dashboard. So you do not necessarily need to go uh, on any other window. If you don't really have to go on a SIP label, you can even find it from here. Apart from that, SIP owner and supplier. So basically, if you we are still working on making the supplier dashboard available to you. So there will be two kinds of supplier in your dashboard. One is obviously the one that you have brought by means of PO or RFQ, and it is your supplier that you have been dealing with. Now they're available in this system to monitor and request the MDs and SDOCs. Uh, but there will be another grade of supplier that we will be activating for ship owner, is what Varuna Sentinels has already vetted. So what it essentially means is, a common question that we are getting is, I don't know if my supplier is able to give that. We have been working with them for years and years, but and the suppliers are obviously worldwide, and somebody who is based in Korea and China, they do not know what is happening in USRR. So there is a big gap, and it is still there. people are still buying, and we keep on issuing this caution that you have to make sure that your supplier is compliant. So in this in a supplier dashboard, we have reached out to those suppliers and we have said that in this new regime you need to comply and you need to be able to produce MDs and SDOCs. And in cases where supplier has no clue, we work with them, we've traced out their downstream supply logistic, manufacturing logistic. We help them to gather all the information that is needed, and help them to also make those MDs and SDOCs by lab testing or by document analysis, as we have done very much for your IHM Part 1. So that way we vet suppliers, we make sure that they are ready, and then we activate it for you within the supplier dashboard to be able to see where one thing that you can be assured of is that their product is vetted, they are compliant. And if you agree with their prices, then you are very free to go ahead and make a deal with them. But we do not engage in price negotiation. We only make sure that they're technically compliant to what USRR stipulates. So that is a very quick rundown of what the dashboard does. So I think I have explained how PO is received in the system, what happens on a day-to-day basis, how do we keep your IHM updated, and also on the supplier side, supplier also have multiple options to upload their MDs and SDOCs, ranging from digital link upload and digital signatures, digital authentication mechanism, to the standard traditional way of scanning and sending us data. So we have made them as comfortable as possible to provide us with that data, and that data will be constantly scanned and updated in the system. So with that, I think I'll conclude my presentation. I'll hand it back to Whitney.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Very informative and very interesting. Let us know in the comment box if you guys also thought it was interesting and you guys followed. We have our third poll running. Have you started with IHM maintenance? A lot of votes came in. A lot of people said yes, but also a lot of people said no. If you're looking to get started, contact us immediately and we will help you set up everything. I have some questions that came in. Sanjeev, this one is for you. This is a big job, and they said big in capital letters. So how much does this cost for a typical tanker / bulk vessel?
Yes, I think we do realize the volume of the job, and most importantly the repetitive nature of the job, and many owners, our clients have already said that our purchasing department is not ready to take on this extra layer of work on a day in and day out basis. So we do realize that, and we are pretty confident that we are worth every penny by doing it for them on a day in and day out basis. And in terms of cost, we are very competitive. So I only can say that please get in touch, send us an email whereby we see on your individual case, your individual fleet size, because we are and customization level needed. So the cost factor depends upon so many things as to the method of exchange of PO that you will be choosing. So please get in touch and we can talk about the cost there. But we do agree that it is quite a big and detailed and recurring job that owner has to do, and we'll be very happy to help you with that.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Ranjan says, suggest to organize similar program for marine surveyors. We definitely will. Sanjeev and Rakesh, are we planning to do this for the marine surveyors?
So I think on as I said earlier, on our circular maritime economy part, there are every element of the industry we are reaching out to. So obviously right now the focus is on ship owners and suppliers, but eventually we will roll out to every individual section of the maritime stakeholder that we have identified, and we'll be doing similar webinars and sessions for all of those entities, and surveyors and hazmat experts are clearly a part of that element.
You heard it here for the first time. We will be rolling out things for marine surveyors. Question. Rakesh, this one is for you. Do you envisage any challenges arising from owners continuing to order products that are not EU SRR vetted on our system? Rakesh, your microphone is muted. You need to unmute yourself. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, great. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
So, yes, there are challenges, of course, to get the compliant MDs and SDOCs from various suppliers, which are EU SRR compliant. But I think as time goes by, we have already started educating the suppliers quite a bit, and we are getting compliant MDs and SDOCs now. Having said that, the whole the globe is not all same. You know, if you go to Africa, you get products from Africa, you get products from other places which may not be which may not be EUSR compliant as of now. But that's what the challenges with the owners are. They have to somehow find a way to get any products that are coming on board which are to be EUSRR compliant. So this is a challenge. We realize that, and that is the reason why we are having this seminar, and we are having developed this product to educate the suppliers as they go along that they must be able to supply EU SRR compliant products, which because that's finally a liability on the ship owners if they are not compliant. So so I hope this answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Another question, how do you handle this service for a supplier to the maritime industry?
Of course, here is, as Sanjeev has pointed out in his presentation, we have a separate section for the suppliers, and there we will invite the suppliers to get on board, have the products there inside the system, and of course we will be vetting the suppliers and the MDs SDOCs which are within the system, and we will be able to reach out to the suppliers and educate them how exactly it is done. So it will be done within the system itself, and we have catered to that, and that is under building now, and I think we should be able to roll out very soon. The suppliers will be, I'm sure, that because there are multiple suppliers around the world, and I'm sure they will be benefit by our experiences and experience transfers for within the system itself.
Within the system itself. Thank you very much, Rakesh. A few questions were answered by chat. Maybe it's interesting for the other viewers to hear, so I will just read them out loud. Rakesh, I saw that you answered this one. While you have the mic, maybe you can answer it for everyone. It says, PO items may include glues, tapes, silicones, etc. Are these kind of items relevant to the item scope you provide? Do you have any difficulties collecting MDS or SDOCs from suppliers for such items?
I think I have answered this a little bit earlier. That of course, yes, we have there are some suppliers who had no idea about all this USRR and HKC and other regulations, and that's the reason we had to go reach out to them and educate them. So as we have gone along, as we have sailed along, we have been able to educate a lot of suppliers, and now we are seeing improvements in the system. We are able to collect MDs and SDOCs as we see, and I'm sure as within the next quarter or so, and as our system also builds up, we will surely get compliant MDs and SDOCs from the suppliers. Of course, we had a lot of challenges in the beginning, and as we know that from all the owners also, they are having a lot of challenges. But yeah, especially having a digital platform like this helps a lot, and where we can have experience exchanges, experience transfers within the suppliers, and we can get them to be compliant. As far as the glues and the silicones and such provisionary items, I would say is that what item part 1 caters to ship structure. So anything that goes into the ship structure needs to be compliant. At the same time, we have to see the threshold values. So so maybe if a small drop of glue or a small is being applied on the ship structure, the threshold value may not be above the limitation. But ideally, of course, we would like to have the MDs and SDOCs for them. Having said that, we also definitely require MDs and SDOCs for gaskets, for example, for insulation materials, which we definitely know will go into the ship structure. So basically, the bottom line is the ship structure. So for all the provision items, for all the hotel items, for all um, the catering items, since it's not a part of the ship structure, that will not be a requirement to have the MDs STOCs. But having said that, we will like to have the purchase orders for that, so that the system keeps a track and is very clear when there's an audit or an audit trail. You can produce the purchase order or the RFQ, and we can say that this is not a requirement for the ship. So it is. So this software is also like a repository of your what you have bought on the ship, and can be you can actually show it at any point of time to any auditing body or a port state control. Thanks.
No, thank you, Rakesh. I want to take a moment to thank both speakers, Sandeep and Rakesh, for coming out today again and sharing your knowledge. It was again a very informative webinar, and we really enjoyed hearing from you guys. I want to thank all the people that came out this morning. It was really good having you guys here with your all informative questions. We hope to see you for our next webinar, again, which will be hosted on the 28th of January. That's really soon. After this webinar, you can go ahead and purchase your ticket if you want to hear this webinar again or have more information, or if you missed something and you would like to hear it again, just go ahead, get your ticket. It's a free webinar, guys, so don't hesitate to invite a friend also. Let me see. Guys, we have reached the end of this webinar. Thank you guys for joining us. Wishing you guys a safe and healthy 2021. And hoping to see you guys on the 28th. Thank you very much. Sandeep and Rakesh, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gizem. Okay.